refugees in the Northeast. Nigeria ranked 36th most corrupt country globally, sliced down CPI ranking. Saudi Arabia closes 2026 Hajj data capture, NACON 6 extension. In the world of business, CAC to register 3,500 small businesses for free nationwide. And in sports, Electoral sets sights on Real Madrid, eyes historic appointments. In entertainment, Toyin Abraham's debut film, Ovasabi Auntie, hits 1 billion naira at the box office. And now the news in full. The Nigerian Senate is set to hold an emergency plenary session today amid widespread criticism over its handling of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026. The controversy surrounds the Senate's decision to drop the clause mandating real-time electronic transmission of election results, sparkling outrage among civil society organizations, opposition figures, and labor unions. The extraordinary sitting, less than a week after the bill's passage, will be presided over by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, with 105 senators expected to attend. The move comes as pressure mounts on lawmakers to address concerns over electoral transparency and credibility ahead of the 2027 general elections. Meanwhile, former Rivers State Governor and ex-Minister of the Federation and of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, joined protesters at the National Assembly complex in Abuja today, Tuesday, demanding the inclusion of real-time electronic transmission of election results in the proposed Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Amechi stood alongside protesters, calling for their demand to be met amid controversies surrounding the amendment ahead of the 2027 general elections. Moving on, the federal government has started implementing key welfare provisions of its renegotiated agreement with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, including a 40% increase in the consolidated academic allowance for members effective January the 1st, 2026. Minister of Education, Tunji Lassa, announced the move, citing President Bola Tinubu's commitment to honoring agreements with education sector stakeholders and sustaining industrial harmony in federal universities. The increase is part of efforts to improve staff welfare and stabilize the public university system. This was disclosed in a statement issued by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Education, Boriowo Folashade. Some federal universities have already reflected the approved increase of salary repayment. The government has directed all universities to integrate increments into their payroll structures, ensuring eligible staff benefits. Moving on, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduole, has expressed concerns that the proposed 2.72 billion naira capital allocation for 2026 is inadequate to drive Nigeria's industrialization and economic growth. Appearing before Senate committees, Oduole appealed for increased funding in diversifying the economy and attracting investment. Oduole said the ministry has recorded achievements, including $21 billion in capital importation in the first 10 months of 2025, up from $12 billion in 2024 and under $4 billion in 2023. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Trade and Investment, Senator Omar Sadiq, acknowledged the ministry's strategic importance to the administration's economic vision. However, Sadiq stressed that National Assembly support would hinge on transparency, accountability, and measurable impact, noting that lawmakers were more interested in results than rhetoric. And in Ogun State, the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and convener of the alternative movement, Segun Shomi, has condemned the shady treatment of people living with disabilities in the state. Shomi, in a statement posted on his Facebook page on Monday, decried the exclusion of people living with disabilities, saying that not much has been done to ease their challenges and help them live a dignified life. Shomi said that disability inclusion is not charity, but smart governance, economic sense, and conclusional responsibility under Nigeria's Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act. Away from that report, the Defense Headquarters has announced that troops of Operation Hardin Kai neutralized over 30 terrorists and facilitated the return of more than 700 Nigerian refugees within the week as operations intensified across the Northeast. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, stated that the successes followed aggressive intelligence-driven operations against Boko Haram, ISWAP, and Jazz elements conducted jointly with air assets and local security troops. The operation led to neutralization, arrest of kidnappers, rescue of abductees, and recovery of weapons and equipment in Borno and Adamawa states. Additionally, the second batch of about 700 Nigerian refugees was repatriated from Cameroon through the Banki border in Borno state, with adequate security provided throughout the exercise. Moving on, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, on Monday expressed displeasure over open cattle grazing within Ibadan land. He made the disclosure after a meeting with members of the Olubadan Council and executive members of the Ijaye Farm Settlers Association at the Olubadan Palace, Oke Aremo, in Ibadan North local government area of the state. Ladoja, in a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Benga Ayoade, in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, said open cattle grazing is not only illegal, but also prohibited, not only in Ibadan land, but across the state. The paramount ruler warned all cattle rearers to desist from open grazing to avoid court action, adding that anyone caught defying the state law would be arrested and prosecuted. Moving on, the United States Department of Homeland Security, that's the DHS, plans to deport 97 Nigerians, including 18 listed on its worst of the worst criminal register. According to a statement on the DHS website, the move is part of an ongoing nationwide crackdown on criminal immigrants. The affected individuals were convicted of various offenses, including wire fraud, mail fraud, and identity theft. This development follows an earlier report of 79 Nigerians marked for deportation. Moving on to other stories, Nigeria has been ranked 142nd out of 182 countries in Transparency International's 2025 Corruption Perception Index, that's the CPI, retrogressing from 140th in 2024. Despite this, the country retained its position as the 36th most corrupt country globally, sharing the spot with Cameroon, Guatemala, Guinea, Kyrgyzstan, and Papua New Guinea, with a score of 26 points. Denmark, Finland, Singapore, and New Zealand top the list as the cleanest countries, with no African nation featuring in the top 10. So, on other stories, former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, yesterday joined the ongoing protest at the National Assembly in Abuja over the Senate's rejection of mandatory electronic transmission of election results by the Senate. Our correspondent in Abuja, Jimo Ogirima, reported that protesters with different placards stormed the National Assembly to protest the action of the Senate.
Altered the Senate's position on the electronic transmission of election results, urging lawmakers to allow the electoral process to proceed without restrictions. The former Labour Party presidential candidate added that the election must go through the normal process.
We must learn that small countries of the world are trying to do things right. We saw how this in Ghana. Because of the wrong and then the sense of Africa is the one that wants to do things wrong. What is wrong allow the election to go through the normal process. Whoever wins will accept. So why are you bringing on the confusion?
The protest tagged Occupy National Assembly saw Nigerian youths and pro-democracy activists converging at the entrance of the National Assembly to express their opposition to the Senate's rejection of e-transmission of election results.
We are here to make sure that the Senate pass the electoral reform that includes real-time electronic transmission of results. We don't want to hear transfer. We don't want to hear it is at the discretion of INEC. No, INEC has been given so much money, they should do the needful. Currently, what we have, the only independent in INEC is the I that is in their name. We want a situation whereby there is independence is forced on them, since they do not know how to take the capacity and take the power to be independent. And so that's why we are making demands on the National Assembly to say to them, they must pass the bill that has transmission, real-time transmission, mandatory of results, and so that people can see. We are tired of the rigging. Whatever it is that the people vote, let the people's mandate stand.
We are here to save democracy in Nigeria. The foundation of every democracy is free, fair, and credible elections. Without choosing your leaders, there is no accountability. So no matter how criminal-minded leaders are, they rig themselves back into power. And the 10th Assembly is trying to be mischievous with passing an electoral act that is supposed to guarantee transparency, accountability, and a free and fair process. That is why, as Nigerians, it must concern everybody to come here and ensure that they do not only pass the law, but do not pass a fraudulent law, a law that will ensure that the votes of the people will count. Because come 2027, my vote must count.
We need the results to be transmitted immediately, mandatorily, you know. That's why you see both the educated and the uneducated. One thing binds us together, our votes. Yes. You know, for our votes to count. We can't keep voting thin air. We can't keep voting and our votings will not count. And the reason why leaders are misbehaving is because they know that votes don't count. If you are a leader and you know that next 4 years they will not vote you in if you don't fulfill your promises, you will act right. But because they know that they have INEC, they have people like Fabio, they have people like Amupita that they can probably pay. And you know, our votes will be sold. They don't bother looking after us that is voting the votes. This time around, according to Peter, he said, let there be no illusion. Yes. The criminality witnessed in 2023 will not be tolerated 2027.
We are asking the Senate to come back to the real-time transmission, electronic transmission, because there seems to be misunderstanding the way people are explaining electronic transmission. We say upload from the ward level, from the voting point, from the polling unit. When you to IREV, upload immediately. And when you upload, what happens? Whether you have, even if you are saying it's in a place where there is no network, as soon as you get to the network environment, the thing uploads. And so what we are asking the Senate to do is to come back to the same resolution of electronic transmission. You are creating, confidence and trust for a system. Let them not take us back.
We are here for a singular reason. There must be compulsory
electronic transmission of elections results. Anything short of that is injustice to Nigeria. The National Assembly, led by Senator, in quote, Mrs. Godswill Akpabio, is trying to convince me and you that they cannot transmit election result electronically. So we are demanding that election result must be transmitted electronically. We are not asking them to return the money they have taken. We are saying you must face a free, fair, and credible election.
The demonstration attracted a heavy security presence, with personnel drawn from the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Army, and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps deployed to maintain order around the complex. The civil society groups, however, promised to continue the protest tomorrow by 7 a.m. Jimo Ogrima, reporting for VOP TV, Abuja.
Thank you so very much, Jimo, for that report. We also understand that the protest has continued in the capital city, and I'm talking about Abuja. But just to watch the midday news right here on Voice of the People television, we'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us now to make sense of these stories that made it to the headlines, and in the studio with us is Barrister Darlington Agumo. Barrister Darlington is a legal practitioner right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Barrister, very good afternoon to you and thank you for joining the conversation.
Good afternoon, David. How are you?
I'm fine, very well. Thank you, Barrister. How are you doing as well?
I'm okay.
All right, then joining us also virtually is Mr. Somi Uranta. Mr. Somi is an activist and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator as well. Mr. Somi, a very good afternoon to you and thank you for joining the conversation this afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
Thank you so much.
And to our viewers.
Thank you so very much. Let me start off from the studio. Barrister, before I go to the happenings in Abuja, there is a report that just popped up just yesterday that Nigeria has slipped down to 36 of... I take it down because I actually thought we're kind of improving. 36 in the world, the most corrupt country globally. Barrister, this particular position, what's your take?
Yes, and you forgot the 142 out of 182.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It means that you are making progress in infamy. You are progressing in the wrong direction. And these are part of the things the government is telling us that there is an improvement in the economy, in everything. You can see now.
Well, that statement was made by the president yesterday, Barrister, at the Economic Forum. That, of course, is a two-day forum. But do you think that statement was laced out of not being hands-on on the real economy as against what it's seen on paper?
Do you ever believe that somebody will tell you that is wrong or that things are getting bad under his watch? No government will tell you that. They will continue with their propaganda. Meanwhile, those who meant well will be telling you the real picture. They will show you the real picture for you to see. So no matter the propaganda, no matter the lies and deceit, the truth is out there. Not even from Nigeria. Not even from Nigeria, because if Nigeria were to say that it's propaganda, it's opposition. But these are the realities of our time. David, all the indices, in fact, they even made a mistake. I don't think they gave us the actual position that we're supposed to occupy. Seriously. I think they made a mistake because it should have been the last, second to the last. Because when you look at what is happening, look at the way they are buying votes now. Campaign have not started though. David, the campaign have not started. And this particular party is buying votes all over the place. Look at the 210 trillion that disappeared. The whole world is aware of that particular news. Nobody is making effort to even ask, where is this money? Who took it? Look at what is happening in Rivers State between Wike and Fubara and even the president. These are issues that demarcate you as a country. And many others. Look at insecurity. In fact, the U.S. congressmen are saying that Nigerian government is covering up what is happening in Nigeria.
Interestingly, Barrister, there's also one data that I stumbled across just yesterday. I don't know if my producers are very much aware and, of course, ready with that figure. In 2026, Nigeria's internally displaced persons rose by nearly 20%.
Of course.
Between 2017 and 2026. In fact, as we speak, Barrister, we have about 3.71 million persons at the IDP camps in Nigeria, all across Nigeria.
That is a whole country. That is the population of a whole country in Europe. That is a country in Europe living in IDP camp in Nigeria.
Now, what that means, Barrister, is the fact that Nigeria accounts for about 3% of the global forcible displaced population. Barrister, 3.71 million Nigerians at the IDP camps, of course, as a result of insecurity. And the president, again, did say yesterday that the economy is getting back into shape. The reforms are working. Should we take what the president is saying as a futuristic statement as against the reality of what Nigerians are seeing, particularly on the path of insecurity?
They will never tell you that they are performing worse than any previous government in the history of Nigeria. They will never tell you that. But I thank God for these international organizations that are watching all over all the countries in the world. They are giving us they are showing us our picture. They are showing us our real picture. And not this deceit and all this propaganda you are seeing all over the place. Is it not obvious that what they told you is the real thing? No, has the number of IDP, have it not increased? No, is that in doubt?
In 2017, it was just about 1.70 million. Anyways, Barrister, let's take this conversation to Mr. Somi, who is joined us virtually. Once again, Mr. Somi Rancha, thank you so much for staying by. Now, according to the report that we've just gotten from Transparency International 2025 Corruption Perception Index, Nigeria has retrogressed from 140th in 2024 to 142nd out of 182 countries when it comes to transparency and, of course, corruption. What's your position?
I think that, in fact, I have to agree with the barrister that the agencies that have taken this data, they are trying to be nice towards Nigeria. They are being economical with the facts of the matter. Because when you check all the things that are happening in Nigeria, there is no country where such things are happening in terms of corruption, in terms of government officials, ganging up amongst themselves against the citizens, in terms of stealing the corporate patrimony or looting. Stealing is even so euphemistic, looting of the commonwealth of the people. So if they check very well, they will realize that they have made a gross mistake. Which country in the world that 210 trillion will be missing and nobody's talking about it? Which country in the world that you have the NSA, the security advisor, national security advisor, telling you that they spent 17.5 trillion in protecting pipeline, when another party spent, in the past, 18 trillion in subsidizing petroleum products so that citizens can buy it at an affordable price. Right. So where this is happening, it's in Nigeria. Those people, they are not being factual. Maybe, who knows, that's money paid to take care of, to lobby. Maybe it's working in the interest of the government. Otherwise, they should give us our actual scorecard.
Now, I'm still staying with you, Mr. Somi Ranta. Interestingly, the president did say yesterday at the Economic Forum that the economy is yielding positive results. Now, the indices at which the presidency did use to make that statement is on macroeconomy, microeconomy, and also the fact that the dollar is also somewhat stable from what it was before now. Do you think that as it stands, the president, again, has hands-on information, particularly on the reality of the Nigerian economy. Now, some would say that the staple foods in Nigeria has gone a bit down when it comes to pricing. But what's the reality from your end? And then what's your position with the statement of the president saying that his administration economic reforms are beginning to deliver positive results?
When let me please take you on when you say staple food has gone down slightly in Nigeria. Did it go down because of more production, or did it go down because of lack of capacity of citizens to purchase those things, those items? Certainly, you will have to ask a question: what have we done differently that will make that will make foodstuffs to come down in price for Nigerians? What have we done? Have we taken care of this security? Has this security not spiraled? Has it not skyrocketed? And more Nigerians not being kidnapped and killed and maimed? Are there no more denials of existence of Christian genocide in Nigeria, or the ethnic cleansing of minority ethnic groups? I mean, what have we done differently? So what the president is saying, I think he's just trying to kind of feel good situation for himself and the government. But they should go to the streets and find out from the real Nigerians, how are they faring? Are they faring better now than last year before last? Or even at the time of the Buhari's government, as at 2023, before the advent of this government? So we have to look at these things practically. It's not just by making statements. Statements must be backed with facts, objective facts.
Well,
so
I like the fact that you said that statements must be backed with facts. And I'm still staying with you, Mr. Somi. Interestingly, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Olajumoke Oduwole, did express concerns that the proposed 2.72 billion naira capital allocation for 2026 budget is inadequate to drive Nigeria's industrialization and economic growth. And on the other hand, the president also at the National Economic Council is saying our reforms are yielding results. Can you help Nigerians juxtapose this reality? Because if there is a reduction in funding and allocation for trade and investment, then what indices has the presidency and, of course, maybe the Minister for Trade and Investment been using when it comes to growth of the economy?
That speaks to the irony of the whole situation. You know, when, okay, there's a reduction in capital expenditures when it has to do with investment, trade, and what have you.
Right.
Now, there is increase, humongous increase in, recurrent expenditures. The time that will go into pockets of people. That money is actually a pocket money to some of these government officials. For a country of 230 million people, 2.something billion for a ministry that has to do with investment, it shows that we are not serious. So this, like I said, these are just mere statements.
All right, then. Land on your thoughts.
Yeah, facts does not say, cohere. Facts on ground does not cohere with speeches. So we just take it as mere political statements made, to be politically correct.
All right,
it does not relate to facts on ground.
All right, then. Thank you so very much for your submission. Then let me bring it back to the studio. Barrister, interestingly, like I did mention earlier, the Minister for Trade and Investment, I'm talking about Olajumoke Oduwole, did express a concern that the 2.72 billion naira allocated in the 2026 appropriation is not enough to seeing the reality of growth on the economy. But on the other hand, the presidency also is saying that we are seeing growth on the economy. How do we juxtapose this, Barrister, in maybe a few seconds?
Even I think is it a woman or a man now? She's saying that out of that money, they have received only 30-something million or so. That is what she said. And, this administration, they don't like to be told the truth. I remember when somebody said that they have overshot their target for 2025 by August. But towards the end of the year, around November, the Minister of Finance said, look, they are behind their revenue target by 30, by 30. So, people were wondering, but your guy told us that you have even met your target and overshot itself. So what is this back and forth? Immediately, the Minister of Finance was, there was this allegation that he was invited for query or something like that, that they were even thinking of relieving him of his appointment and all that. So this other Minister of Trade and Industry, you better watch your step. I agree with what they have said. David, personally, I want to go with their propaganda and their lies. Whatever they say now, I will agree. But I will point it out that I did not surrender to what they said. I'm only saying it so that there will be peace in the land. Because right now, when you say the truth, they will put a treasonable felon on your head that you want to topple the government.
Interesting part there, Barrister. This, of course, the situation of treasonable felony, we understand did come from the last protest that was hijacked by some other people. But let's bring it to the protest situation now. Today is day 2 of the protest to the National Assembly by some concerned Nigerians in Abuja. As we speak, Barrister, the former FCT governor, Rotimi Amechi, was in that same protest. Omoyele Sowore was also found in that protest. Activist Aisha Yusufu was also in that protest. Quite a number of Nigerians are gathering around the protest ground, even though there's been major barricade from what we see in the footages that we've seen thus far, and of course from the live updates that we've gotten. Barrister, how much of an impact would these decisions, should it be made on our electoral process, would it have in 2027?
The embarrassment is on the government because the whole world is watching. The whole world is watching what is going on. And they'll be wondering whether human beings are here or mere animals. You know, when Donald Trump called you a disgraced nation, what other disgrace is more than this? That the House of Representatives have passed a law for what? Immediate transmission of electoral result. That is your vote. Immediate, timelessly, no delay, as you have finished voting.
From the polling ward.
Immediately from the polling unit. The House of Rep, the junior member of National Assembly, they have agreed though. But look at what Akpabio is embarrassing himself, talking from three mouth.
Well, Minister, we also learned that there is an emergency convergence of the National Assembly members today, hopefully for the concerns of Nigerians on the harmonization of what the House did agree on and what, of course, the Senate agreed on. Should we be expecting something interesting for Nigeria? Even
if they do it now, the embarrassment is out there already. If this Akpabio-led Senate is sincere, if this Akpabio-led Senate is his own man, he doesn't need to waste a minute. After the House of Rep have approved, the moment the thing is transmitted to them, they will just spell and stamp it. That as they always stamp anything that comes from Aso Rock. So why is he delaying? Why is he causing himself with this embarrassment and Nigeria? No, tell me.
But
I should clap for him now for the convening, Abi.
There were also concerns. But Barrister, there were also concerns from the Senate that the reason for the then rejection was because we were not ready for it, particularly on the part of internet and all of that.
Really? But we are ready for embezzlement, Abi. We are ready for corruption. No, we are ready for vote buying, that is going all over the country now, Abi.
But Barrister,
we are ready for all those things. But to transmit the results of an election, we are not ready for it. Who told you? Mention that particular local government in Nigeria today where there is no banking services, there is no POS. Just mention, just one like this. I'm talking about local government, not state. No, mention it.
All right.
So we can start from there. Go and show me that local government that the people there, they don't know anything about POS, no banking, nothing. They can't even transact any financial business and all that.
All right, then.
Go and show me the local government. The local government.
Well, big question there, really. Mr. Somi, your final thoughts on this same conversation about the ongoing protest that is presently day 2 happening in Abuja. I would like you to unmute your mic. I don't know if you're still with us, Mr. Somi Ranta.
Yes.
All right, then.
See, one wonders why the APC government is afraid of electronic transmission of real-time voting. The results should be transmitted immediately, real-time. I don't know why we are arguing over this issue.
But Mr. Somi, Mr. Somi, is the APC government really afraid? Because they have 31 states already in their hands.
That is the question. That is the question. Normally, if all things being equal, it should have been a walkover for them. So why insist on not giving the people what they want? I mean, they should be glad that they have virtually the whole states in their kitty. So they should give Nigerians what Nigerians are asking for. We don't have to keep debating over it.
All right.
Let the result be transmitted.
All right. Then.
After all, some people are buying a card. They are buying differences from people, spending money. But this opposition don't have any of those things. Just give the people what they're asking for. Let's even see.
All right, then. Thank you so very much, Mr. Somi Ranta, an activist and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Thank you so very much for joining the conversation this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Also, thank you so very much, Barrister Darlington Agumore, legal practitioner right here in Nigeria, and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Thank you so very much for being here.
My pleasure.
We'll take a very short break right now. When we return, Saudi Arabia closes 2026 Hajj data capture. Knock on 6 extension. This and more after this quick break. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back. It is still the media news right here on Voice of the People television. Now to more stories. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has confirmed that Saudi Arabia has officially closed the data capture window for the 2026 Hajj session. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, through its Ministry of Hajj and Umrah, shut the data capturing process on the Nusuk Masar platform required for pilgrims' registration and processing. NACON has formally appealed to Saudi authorities for an extension to enable Nigeria to complete uploads for remaining intended pilgrims. The Commission made this known in a statement by Fatima Usara, Deputy Director of Information and Public Relations, NACON. NACON has warned intending pilgrims against making payments for the 2026 Hajj, stating that the payment window has officially closed. The Commission assures timely updates will be provided as soon as further communication is received from Saudi authorities. Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, Abdullahi Usman, has resigned from his position. Ahmed Muazu, the media assistant to the chairman, confirmed this development to newsmen late on Monday without giving any official reason for the resignation. Usman, a professor, was appointed chairman of NACON by President Bola Tinubu in 2024. He oversaw his first Hajj operations in 2025, marking his debut in managing Nigeria's Hajj affairs at the national level. He replaced Jalal Arabi, who was sacked by President Tinubu for allegedly misappropriating Islamic pilgrimage. Meanwhile, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has debunked as entirely false the claim that it had secretly banned the amoxicillin antibiotics in Nigeria. In a public notice on X on Monday, the agency clarified that while it's routinely issued targeted safety alerts and recalls for specific substandard or affected batches of medicines, there was no blanket ban on amoxicillin, assuring the general public that it would be notified of any regulatory action through its official channel. NAFDAC emphasized that its safety communication, including recalls, safety alerts, and blacklist, provide details on specific product names, batch numbers, manufacturers, and necessary actions to protect patients and healthcare providers. It added that there were applicable blacklisting targets companies for safety concerns, regulatory violations, or unethical practices, but not entire drug categories. Moving on, the Kwara State government has denied reports circulating on social media claiming a core member died of Lassa fever at the National Youth Service Corps orientation camp in the state. The denial is contained in a statement on Tuesday by the Ministry of Health's Press Secretary Saad Hamdalat, following an investigation by the state's Rapid Response Team. According to the statement, the probe was led by the state's epidemiologist, Dr. Kamaldeen Khadija, after a social media post on Sunday, February 8, 2026, claimed that a core member had died from suspected Lassa fever at the camp. The government said findings from field investigations and a retrospective active case search revealed no evidence of Lassa fever infection or transmission within the NYSC camp. Moving on, the streets and markets in the southeast have once again come alive, signaling a gradual end to the usual sit-at-home observance. In Anambra State, business is returning to its peak. Our correspondent in Anambra, Ndu Opaleze, has the details.
This is seen at the Onitsha main market today, with traders and their customers engaging in commercial activities from Johnson Street to Bright, from Bida Road through Haruna Street and Sokoto Road. Economic life has picked up, giving signs of full-blown trading activities. In Awka, the state capital, traffic is also getting heavier along the Enugu-Onitsha highway. For Jude Atupulazi, kudos must be given to Soludo for the bold step at halting the decline.
This issue of sit-at-home had become a menace to our economy. People were relocating their businesses outside the state, especially to Delta, Asaba precisely. So he took that step to ensure that the nonsense stopped and people were shouting, out of sentiments or ignorance. But today, we are seeing the fruits of it. The feelers I've got this morning are that if you go to Onitsha main market, it's thriving. Shops are open. More people have come out for business. And we know that henceforth, it will always get better each Monday. So we want to thank the governor for that bold step.
Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra group has joined forces to call off indefinitely the sit-at-home order throughout the southeast. With their latest stand, one would think it should have a positive impact, but Atupalazi seems to have a contrary view.
Well, I think they are trying to save face, because we always knew that you couldn't fight government when government gets serious. So they tried to resist it, when Soludo earlier said it was going to be a one-week closure. So they were against it, they resisted it, they did everything. Some were even posting old videos to scare people away. But when they saw from the last week that this was something that was going to stay, they now came up with this to say they had backpedaled. I see it as just a face-saving measure.
Mdo Opaleze, VOP TV News.
Thank you so very much, Ndu, for that report. Moving on to some business stories, the Corporate Affairs Commission has announced free business name registration for 3,500 small businesses across Nigeria's 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT. The Registrar General of the Commission, Hussaini Magaji, disclosed this in a statement on the Commission's X handle. According to Magaji, the initiative is aimed at reducing the cost of business formalization for micro and small enterprises and encouraging more entrepreneurs to operate within the formal economy. Magaji explained that the program is designed to encourage small businesses to formalize their operations, which would enable them to access government services, financing opportunities, and wider and economic participation. He said the move reflects the Commission's commitment to promoting entrepreneurship, lower startup costs, and supporting inclusive economic growth across the country. And for business, we move straight to sports, where Super Eagles head coach Eric Sikushel has declared his ambition to become the first African manager of Real Madrid, calling it the ultimate milestone in his coaching career. Shell recently led Nigeria to a third-place finish at the 2025 African Cup of Nations, boasting his reputation. In the media chat, the Malian-born coach also opened up about challenges at the just concluded AFCON, including squad management issues and tensions involving key players. And to wrap up the media news, we go straight talking entertainment. Actress and filmmaker Toyin Abraham has expressed gratitude to her fans after her debut movie, Ovasabi Auntie, grossed 1 billion naira at the cinemas, making her the first Nollywood director to achieve this feat with a first film. Abraham revealed she was emotional and struggled to record a thank you video, but promised to share a proper message soon. In a heartfelt note, she thanked her fans, known as Tony Titans, for their loyalty, encouragement, and belief in her project, and promised to deliver what she called more timeless classic movies that meet global standards and engage more actively with their fans. And with that entertainment story, we've come to the end of the midday news. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines again. Senate holds emergency plenary today. Federal government begins implementation of 40% salary increase for ASUU members. Minister warns 2.72 billion naira budget threatens economic transformation. Military neutralizes 30 terrorists, repatriates 700 refugees in the northeast. Nigeria is ranked 36th most corrupt country globally and slides down the CPI ranking. Saudi Arabia closes 2026 Hajj data capture. NACON seeks extension. In the world of business, CAC to register 3,500 small businesses for free nationwide. In sports, coach of the Super Eagles, Eric Shell, set sights on Real Madrid and eyes historic appointments. And in entertainment, Toyin Abraham's debut film, Ovasabi Auntie, hits 1 billion naira at the box office. And we'll urge you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Thank you so very much for being a part of this broadcast. I am David Edwin. Do have a good afternoon.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe.